family's ranch every day, from sunrise to sunset, tending to cattle, mending fences, and riding through dusty trails without a hint of fear. Everyone admired her courage and skill, and many people assumed that she felt no pain, that nothing could stop her. She had learned from a young age that life on the ranch was hard, and weakness could get a person hurt or left behind. Clara had long believed that relying on anyone else was a sign of weakness. She liked doing everything herself, and she was proud of it. One day, a cowboy named Sam rode into town. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a quiet look in his eyes that told people he had seen more than his share of hard times. Sam was a drifter who traveled from ranch to ranch, helping where he could. He carried himself with a calm confidence and had a reputation for being dependable and steady. When he arrived at Clara's ranch, he offered his help. Clara, never one to trust easily, watched him carefully. She had worked with other men before, but most either underestimated her or tried to take over her work. She was not about to let that happen. The first day Sam worked at the ranch, he followed her instructions quietly, never arguing, never rushing. He helped with the cattle, mended fences, and checked on the horses. Clara noticed that he was strong and careful, yet he never tried to show off. This made her curious, but she did not admit it. She pushed herself harder than ever, making sure he did not think she needed him. She wanted him to see that she could handle any task, any challenge. By the second day, a storm rolled in from the west. Dark clouds filled the sky and the wind began to whip across the plains. Clara and Sam were rounding up the cattle when the first drops of rain started to fall. At first it was only a light drizzle, but soon it became heavy rain, turning the dirt paths into slick mud. The cattle grew restless, and Clara worked to keep them in line, shouting commands and guiding them toward the shelter of the barn. Sam stayed close by, ready to help if needed, but Clara insisted she could handle it herself. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the barn. A heavy wooden beam had loosened and fell near her feet. Clara jumped back, but the beam caught her ankle, pinning her to the ground. Pain shot through her leg, sharp and unyielding. She gritted her teeth, refusing to cry out. She had always thought she could endure anything, and she would not let this moment be different. Sam rushed forward without hesitation. He lifted the beam enough to free her, and then gently helped her to her feet. Clara struggled to walk, her pride telling her she could manage on her own. But the pain in her ankle was too much, and she realized she could not move without support. Sam guided her to the main house, carefully helping her over the mud and puddles. Clara's pride flared, but she said nothing. She had no choice but to accept his help, even if it made her feel vulnerable. Inside the small cabin, the situation became more complicated. There was only one bed, and Clara insisted she could sleep on the floor. She did not want to appear weak, and the thought of sharing a bed with a man made her uncomfortable. Sam, seeing her stubbornness and exhaustion, simply said that she had no choice and that she should rest. He would be nearby, he promised, to make sure she was safe. Clara's face flushed, but she knew he was right. She had been pushing herself too hard and needed to let someone else take care of her for a while. That night, as the storm raged outside, Clara lay beside Sam in the small bed. She tried to hide her discomfort, keeping her body stiff and refusing to relax. But as the minutes passed, she began to notice the quiet strength of Sam's presence. He did not speak much, but he did not move away either. His calm breathing and steady presence made her feel safe, even as the wind howled and rain pounded against the roof. Clara tried to convince herself that she was fine, that she could handle the pain without help. But as she shifted her leg and felt the sharp ache in her ankle, she could no longer deny it. The pain was real, more intense than she had allowed herself to feel before. Her body had limits, and she had pushed herself past them. At the same time, she felt something else, a strange relief in letting someone else be there for her. Sam did not judge her, did not question her, and did not treat her differently. He simply let her rest and offered comfort through his presence. As the hours passed, Clara began to relax slightly. She realized that strength was not only about enduring pain or performing hard work alone. True strength could also mean recognizing one's limits and allowing another person to share the burden. The feeling was strange, almost foreign, but not unwelcome. She felt the tension in her muscles begin to ease, and for the first time in years, she allowed herself to rest without shame. Throughout the night, the storm continued, and Clara found herself listening to the sound of rain and wind, feeling safe despite the danger outside. Sam's presence made the room feel calmer, and she realized that there was a kind of comfort in having someone there to support her. Her heart, which had always relied solely on her own courage, began to understand that letting someone in did not make her weak. It made her human. By morning, the storm had passed, leaving the ranch wet and muddy, but Clara felt a new kind of strength within her. She had faced pain, fear, and vulnerability, but she had not been alone. She had learned that there was value in trust and in sharing burdens with someone dependable. Sam quietly got up to tend the horses, and Clara, despite her sore ankle, helped him as best as she could. She realized that while she could still be independent, she did not have to face everything by herself anymore. The days that followed were full of hard work. Clara and Sam continued to repair fences, herd cattle, and take care of the ranch. With each passing day, Clara began to notice subtle changes in herself. She let Sam carry water or lift heavy tools when she needed a break. She allowed him to help guide the cattle without insisting she do every task alone. She discovered that teamwork did not lessen her strength, it enhanced it. And with each shared task, she felt a growing respect and trust for Sam, even as she fought to keep her usual pride and independence. Clara also began to notice small acts of kindness that Sam offered without comment. He would quietly adjust her saddle, fetch tools she needed, or simply stand near her while she worked, ready to step in if danger came. These gestures, simple as they were, made her feel cared for and seen. She had always thought she did not need anyone, but now she realized that having someone reliable by her side could make even the hardest work more manageable. One evening, as the sun began to set and the sky turned shades of gold and orange, Clara sat on the porch looking out over the fields. Sam joined her, carrying a bucket of water for the horses. They did not speak at first, simply enjoying the quiet moment after a long day of labor. Clara felt a warmth she had not experienced before, a connection that went beyond friendship or work. She understood that sharing her space, her time, and even her vulnerability with Sam had changed something within her. For the first time, Clara acknowledged that feeling pain did not mean weakness. Her body had limits and her heart had room for trust and care. Sharing a bed with Sam had been more than just a necessity after the storm. It had been a lesson in humility, compassion, and the quiet power of connection. She had discovered that strength and vulnerability could exist together, and that true courage included the courage to let someone else help you. As night fell and Clara prepared for bed again, she felt a mix of exhaustion and satisfaction. Her ankle was still sore, but her spirit felt lighter. She had faced the storm, the pain, and the challenge of letting someone in, and she had come out stronger for it. Sam, quiet and steady as always, gave her a reassuring smile, and Clara knew that this partnership, built on trust, respect, and shared experience, would help her face any challenge the Wild West could throw at her. And for the first time in a long time, Clara allowed herself to rest completely, feeling safe and understood. Knowing that being strong did not mean facing life alone, she had learned a lesson that would stay with her forever. Sometimes sharing your burden does not lessen your courage, it makes it stronger. The storm had passed, leaving puddles and soft mud in its wake. Clara awoke, her ankle still tender but her spirit lighter than it had been before. She could feel the lingering ache from the accident, but more importantly, she felt the strength she had gained from trusting Sam. She realized that sharing her burden the previous night had not made her weak. It had made her stronger and more aware of her limits. Sam was already up, tending to the horses in the stables. Clara watched him for a moment, appreciating the quiet way he moved among the animals. He never rushed, never complained, and always seemed to know exactly what needed to be done. Clara admired him more than she had expected, but she kept her feelings carefully hidden. She was not used to relying on anyone, and admitting she needed help felt strange yet comforting. She limped over to the stables where Sam noticed her coming. "Morning," he said softly, giving her a small nod. "How's the ankle?" Clara shrugged, trying to appear unaffected. "Sore, but I'll manage," she said. Sam gave a quiet smile and handed her a water bucket. "Here, I'll get the heavier ones." Clara hesitated for a moment, then accepted it. She realized that letting him help did not diminish her strength. It allowed her to conserve energy for the tasks only she could handle. The day was busy. There were fences to repair, cattle to move, and hay to distribute. Clara worked carefully, mindful of her ankle, while Sam stayed close, assisting when needed but never overstepping. Over time, Clara began to relax into the rhythm of teamwork. She noticed that their combined efforts allowed them to complete more work than either could have done alone. She had always thought independence was the highest form of strength, but now she saw that partnership could be just as powerful. By mid-afternoon, Clara's ankle ached more, and she knew she needed a break. Sam suggested they sit under the shade of a large oak tree. Clara reluctantly agreed, settling on the grass while Sam fetched some water. They sat quietly, listening to the soft sounds of the ranch, the lowing of the cattle, the creak of the fence gates, and the distant calls of birds. For the first time in a long while, Clara allowed herself to simply enjoy the moment without thinking about the next task or the next challenge. As they rested, Sam spoke softly. "You know, it's okay to let someone help you. You don't have to do everything alone." Clara looked at him, surprised by the gentle tone in his voice. She had spent her entire life believing that admitting she needed help was a sign of weakness, but hearing him say it without judgment felt freeing. "I'm not used to it," she admitted quietly. "I've always handled things on my own." Sam nodded, understanding. "I know, but sometimes the strongest people are the ones who can accept help when they need it. It doesn't make you any less brave." Clara considered his words. She realized he was right. She did not have to face every hardship alone. There was value in trust in allowing another person to share the load. She felt a small warmth in her chest, a sense of relief she had not known she needed. The afternoon passed with more work, and as the sun began to dip toward the horizon, the ranch was quiet except for the gentle sounds of animals settling in for the night. Clara and Sam finished their chores and returned to the cabin. Clara's ankle throbbed, and she knew she would not be able to handle another night of independent sleep on the floor. She felt a small smile as she realized she would not have to. That night, as Clara and Sam prepared for bed, she felt a strange sense of anticipation. Sharing the bed with him the previous night had been awkward at first, but it had taught her an important lesson about vulnerability and trust. She no longer resisted the idea. She knew that being close to Sam, both physically and emotionally, could be a source of comfort rather than embarrassment. As they lay down, Clara felt the pain in her ankle ease slightly with the warmth of the bed and the calm presence of Sam beside her. They did not speak at first, allowing the quiet of the room and the soft sounds of the night to surround them. Clara found herself reflecting on the day, on the lessons she had learned, and on the subtle changes in her heart. Over the next few days, Clara and Sam settled into a routine. They worked together efficiently, each respecting the other's strengths and weaknesses. Sam continued to show his quiet care through simple gestures, fetching tools, carrying heavier loads, or simply staying close when Clara needed support. Clara found herself relying on him more than she had expected, but she no longer felt shame in doing so. She realized that trust and connection could coexist with independence and courage. One afternoon, while riding through a narrow canyon to check on the cattle, Clara stumbled and twisted her ankle again. The pain shot through her leg sharper than before. Sam immediately rushed to her side, lifting her carefully onto his horse. Clara winced but did not complain. She had learned that Sam would support her without judgment, and that made her feel safer than she had in years. Once they returned to the cabin, Sam helped her into the bed again. This time Clara did not resist. She allowed herself to lean on him, to accept the care he offered without feeling weak or embarrassed. As they lay together, she felt a deep sense of gratitude and a new understanding of what it meant to share life with someone else. She realized that connection and trust could bring strength in ways she had never experienced before. As the days turned into weeks, Clara and Sam grew closer. They shared quiet conversations by the fire, laughter over small mistakes, and moments of silence that were comfortable rather than awkward. Clara began to notice feelings she had never allowed herself to experience. A warmth in her chest when Sam was near, a sense of safety she had long forgotten, and an appreciation for the simple companionship of another person. Through their shared work and experiences, Clara discovered that true strength was not about enduring pain alone. It was about recognizing one's limits, allowing others to help, and building connections based on trust and respect. She had always been proud of her independence, but now she understood that sharing life with someone else could make her stronger, not weaker. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Clara and Sam rode together across the open plains. The wind blew through their hair, and the horses moved steadily beneath them. Clara felt a sense of peace she had never known. She looked at Sam and realized that their partnership had become more than practical. It was built on mutual respect, trust, and a quiet affection that grew with each passing day. By the time they returned to the ranch, Clara knew that her life had changed in profound ways. She was still the strong, capable cowgirl she had always been, but she had learned the value of letting someone share the burden. She had faced pain, learned to accept help, and discovered the comfort of connection. Sam had shown her that vulnerability could coexist with courage, and that trust could bring strength she had never known. That night, as they settled into bed together, Clara felt her heart lighter than it had been in years. She had learned that sharing life with someone did not diminish her independence. It enhanced it. She drifted to sleep feeling safe, understood, and ready to face whatever challenges the Wild West could bring, knowing that she would no longer face them alone. The days that followed were full of work, laughter, and small moments of shared joy. Clara and Sam continued to build their partnership, each learning from the other and supporting one another in ways that strengthened both of them. Clara had once believed she did not feel pain, that she could endure anything alone. Now she knew that real strength included recognizing one's limits, allowing help when needed, and embracing the quiet power of companionship. By the end of the story, Clara and Sam had formed a bond that would carry them through any challenge. They worked side by side, shared their burdens, and discovered that the greatest courage often came from letting someone else stand beside you. Clara had learned that she could feel pain, and that accepting it with the support of someone she trusted did not make her weak. It made her stronger, braver, and more alive than ever before. Together, they faced the wide open plains, ready for the adventures and challenges of the Wild West, strengthened by trust, partnership, and the lessons learned from sharing their lives and burdens. Clara, the once fiercely independent cowgirl, had discovered that life was richer and more fulfilling when shared with someone who cared. She had found not only a partner in work but a partner in life, someone who could stand beside her through storms, hardships, and the quiet moments in between. And as the sun set behind the mountains, casting long shadows over the ranch, Clara knew that her heart was open in a way it had never been before. She had learned to face pain, to trust, and to embrace the power of connection, lessons that would stay with her forever in the wide, wild beauty of the West.